Hello. So I'm going to be doing my immersion reflection for my first week of immersion, and I think I've learned a lot in just 3 days, but I know there's more to come, so I'm very excited. I'm going to start by just jumping into it. So, the first thing I'd like to point out is that elephants that are born into captivity, stay with me, elephants that are born into captivity are tied to things by a very thin rope, one that they cannot get out of. But as they get older, they're tied by that very same rope. And eventually, when they're adults and can obviously break free, they live with that belief that they cannot because of what they learned when they were a child. So they're tied by thin ropes to their ankles and their legs. And even though they have all the will to break free, just because of that belief, they don't. So as I had that idea, that training that they do to elephants in my mind throughout the week, I started thinking, what am I doing that in a sense is holding me back like the elephants? What beliefs do I have that are false? What ropes are holding me back that I could easily break free from? Another thing that happened this week is that we learned a lot about the mandalas, which are the earth, wind, fire, void, water, all of those. And mainly we talked about earth. And I am definitely not someone who is an earth. I never have been. I do not hold my ground. And I do not ever own my space. That's just a flat out being someone that's very small, does not like confrontation. I'm not someone that can do that typically. So this week was very empowering for me in the sense of, I was able to hold my space against people who are much bigger than me. And so, at first I felt stupid. I felt silly because I was like, man, I'm small. I can never hold my space against people that are 6'4", 6'5", people that are trained in Toshindo and stuff. But it felt good being able to do that. And at the end of the day, not feel silly doing it and feeling like, yeah, this is my space and this is what I own. This weekend, I had a speech and debate tournament, which, as nerdy as that sounds, is something that does cause me a lot of anxiety because you have to speak in front of a lot of people. And it's something that's always nerve-wracking for me, even though I've been doing it for 4 years. And every time I went up to speak in front of my judges and my competitors and my family even, I thought, I own my space. This is my space, and I felt more grounded, I felt more confident, and I even did better overall at the tournament. So that was something that I think I'm going to take along with me as I go on in situations where I'm a little bit more nervous, because I think it did help me a lot, thinking that I'm grounded and this is my space, and even though these people are also here and that's their space, this is mine. So that was a major chunk of this week for me. Another one that I'd like to talk about is when we got the white belts, because I was so nervous and scared. Not even for all of it actually, now that I'm thinking about it, when we had to stand there and again own our space and keep grounded, and I'm like, I'm small. They're gonna push me over. There's no way for me to stand. They're gonna push me over. And it's just that mental block that I always put in front of myself. I always do myself for failure before it even happens. And that was a big realization this week for me, was that no, don't tell yourself you're going to fail or you're going to. So having the support of the group saying, you got this, it's okay, and being up there and seeing that they wanted me to succeed made me want to succeed. So that was a really good moment for me, and saying I believe in myself when I didn't feel it. I didn't feel like I did. I'm not someone that typically does because I get nervous and I doubt a lot. Was something that I was a little bit uncomfortable with and nervous at first, and I was like, I can't, do this in front of everybody because I don't want to lie. But when I got up there and after they were pushing me and whatnot and I stayed grounded, I did believe in myself. I was like, yeah, I just did that. And these guys are big. And they didn't knock over this little 5'3" girl. Like, they didn't. So I just think, the brain, for me personally, I think is easily tricked. You tell your brain something and it will listen. So if you tell your brain, I'm stupid, or I can't do this, or I will be pushed over, you're going to. If you tell your brain that, no, I am staying here because this is my space and I'm grounded, or, I believe in myself, you're going to. I've seen it in person where my coaches before have said, like, tell yourself you're weak and let me push on your arms. And when I told myself I was weak, they pushed on my arms and I just buckled. They said, tell yourself you're strong, even if you don't believe it, and let me push on your arms again. And I did, and they didn't push me down, because the brain can be easily tricked. So I think that applied to a lot this week of me saying, no, I can do this, and I'll be confident during my speaking because I am. So that was a big thing for me, because I think I'm someone that typically does tear down myself more than I should. I think that's with the majority of our group. So that was really monumental to me, was saying something that I didn't necessarily believe, but then through experience did. I discovered a lot about myself that I didn't think, I would. Lastly, I'd like to talk about discomfort, because I think on the first day we listened to a meditation talk in which they talked about embracing discomfort, something I never do. No, that is a no for me. I like staying comfortable, I like staying safe, and I like staying secure. And most importantly, I like to be in situations where I am in control and I know what's happening. Well, all of these situations, I wasn't necessarily in control. I didn't know what was going to happen, and I was very uncomfortable. And even though it was some of the single best experiences I've ever been a part of, because I'm never really present. I'm always in my head. I'm always saying I can't do it, or that I'm too uncomfortable, and I don't embrace it. And I did. I had fun. I had a great time, and that's what my immersion mainly has been about. A lot of self-discovery, a lot of learning things, and a lot of applying it. So there we go. Thank you.